Oh yeah!
Hello everybody, welcome back to Press Z. My name is Kyle and I am playing Besiege. It's about 5 years old. I know I'm really late to the party, that's just kind of how I roll. But I've been watching people play it lately on YouTube. Love the content. Decided I'd get it, and then I decided, hey, I might as well record some of my stupid shit too, because everyone else does. Anyhow, I've just got a couple vehicles that I've made here today. Well, I haven't made them today. I'm going to showcase them to you today. I've only made these two, well, I guess I made three vehicles, but just dicking around. I haven't really done a whole lot. I don't understand the game as well as a lot of the people who have been playing it for 5 years, obviously. Unfortunately, my computer cannot handle the maps that have destructible objects and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I can, but I basically have to play at 2%, and that's not ideal. Anyways, all that being said, this is Besiege. This is my... I don't know what to call this one. It's kind of a glider. It's kind of an airplane. It's kind of like a pod racer. It's got a whole bunch of things going on. It was supposed to be a kind of an aerial acrobat airplane, but it turned out being something else entirely. And we turned the engines on there, and I've got smart steering built into this fella, so it handles the roll and the yaw at the same time. You can see by my light trails. So that's kind of an interesting and easy way to do it. It makes it incredibly easy to fly. Anyone can fly it, not a problem at all. But I do actually have some advanced controls built in too. You can use just the rudder, which of course drastically changes the behavior of it, and you can just do the roll itself. Whoops. Anyhow, so that's this little fella. Now I found out that if you leave him on the ground and you just use the rudder to steer, it behaves like a drifter or a pod racer or something cool. I don't know, but it's really neat. I also have a couple of boosts built in here, fast boosts. So, whoa! Yeah, that one's she's a goner. So things crash and break very easily in this game, but I've designed this little fella so that it is very small and very light. Weighs just over 11 units of mass in this game, which is incredibly small. Light, I should say. But yeah, it's a really neat little fella. It doesn't stall. You can go straight up. You can go however you want. You can fly upside down. It's easy to land. Let's see here. I'll just turn off the engine there. So we're just gliding right now, and it's not a perpetual glider or anything, but it's a very efficient glider, and it's very, like I said, it's very light, so it's easy to maneuver. And I'll try to show you here in a second, but you can just straight up hit the ground sometimes, and you just bounce off of it because there's so much spring in it, and everything is in fact so light. So let's get going this way and do a little bit of pod race and stuff. Okay, I actually have two different boosts built in. I have a rocket, and then I have those others. Actually, they're flamethrower boosters. Using them both at the same time is pretty impractical. You can break 1,000 kilometers an hour, which is ridiculous, and you can do that on the ground or in the air. But any subtle movements are going to rip the wings off, and you end up completely across the map in just a heartbeat. So, yeah, that's this little fella. Let's see. I'll reset it and we'll get both of the boosts. Let's find a good straightaway where we can get a little bit of runway, so we don't have to pull up or do any sort of crazy maneuvers. I don't know where the biggest part of this map is. This is the barren expanse. See, I knocked into the ground there, and my other vehicles I have would have just shattered into 1,000 pieces. Well, look at this. We'll just bounce off of that wall as well. Not a big deal. Okay, we've got our God mode on, so that makes this pretty easy. Just turn you around. Alright. Not necessarily ideal, but we're going to go for it. I'm just going to turn on both boosts and the throttle at the same time. And here we go. So, that's, yeah, I saw 1,100 kilometers an hour for a second there, and then the wall in my asshole. So, I think that's pretty much everything I had to show you with this guy. If I think of anything else, well, let me do one thing. This is not all that great, but just to kind of show you, we'll just go bonk. It's upside down, but it is not broken. Now, if you actually look at the steering on this, I guess I'll showcase that. And it's all set up just in the controls of these different objects that govern how it steers. If I press the left arrow, then my front wings tilt to make me turn that direction, and then the rudder goes also. Press the right arrow, opposite. That's the smart steering that I was talking about. It does the yaw and the roll at the same time. The G and the H keys are just the rudder, and then the T and the Y keys are just the roll. So that's how it actually works, looking at the controls up close. And that's it. Alright everybody, one more thing. I just realized that my meter was not set to kilometers per hour, it was meters per second. So I do want to get a good shot of this and see how fast it actually is going. I've got it in a position where I think I should be able to go straight for the majority of this map, but I'm just going to hit both the boost and turn on the motor at the same time. It's frictionless and everything's symmetrical and balanced, so we should just go straight as an arrow and get an idea of what this thing can do. But, oh, we were already ready to go. Here we go. Nope, that's not straight. Well, let's move this over a little bit. And let's rotate it a touch. Let's go down to 5-degree increments. Too much. Ah. Alright, screw it. Here we go. Well, 1700 when I hit that, so I guess it's a little faster than I thought it was. Let's try that again. Little over 2,000. So, wow, that's more than twice as fast as I thought it was. But yeah, I guess she's quick too. Alright, and here is my rock crawler. It uses pretty standard technology from what I understand compared to what other people use. But this is my first creation. This is what I've dumped the majority of my time into playing this game. It's not excessive, but it's probably more complicated than it needs to be. It would be less brittle if it just had less parts and it was just a simpler design. But this is a very realistic design. Well, with Besiege absurdity added on top of that. Let's see here. So the way that I have this this set up on the rear end and the front end, I have two different suspension systems. On the back we have an axle, so it works a lot like a regular vehicle. They're mounted together, side to side, and then up and down as well. And the springs, of course, absorb the impact. My steering system, this is actually set up like a real vehicle as well. It uses a piston to push the arm to actually change the angle of the wheel. That is connected to a separate spring connected to the frame independently from everything else. So it doesn't necessarily get compromised if the bottom part that's getting just the hell beat out of it, gets torn up. Now on the front end, this I have it set up so that the tires remain parallel whenever you adjust them. So I can obviously just pull up on one, the other one goes down. That actually works really well for the rock crawling. Obviously you want to stay, tires on the ground, at the top of the hill ideally. So let's go ahead and drop the pins on this fella, and let's get going. See what we can do. I mean, I know fully well what it's capable of. There's random stuff that's going to happen here and there, but so far it can crawl pretty well up any hill or any rock or whatever. Basically, you just keep the hammer down. It won't go up straight walls yet. Okay, that's not quite. There we go. It just needs too much downforce for that. It starts breaking itself, and with how heavy this is, it's just not a practical way to go about it. But you can go pretty well wherever you want to. Not everywhere you want to, but damn it, that's not at all what I meant to do. I meant to hit C and hit spacebar instead. It's alright. We'll go back and we'll climb up it again. We'll find a different spot and see what we can do. those little log blocks that we just passed, I can actually put one tire up on top of one and have the other tire sitting flat on the ground. So that's pretty handy. All right, and obviously you can tell we're not in invincibility, so things can break. This thing, I've fought so much with how fragile it is, trying to get it where it's functional and durable, and that's the tough part, because you usually have one or the other. But yeah, this this is more like, it's fun for me to play around with. It's probably not very much fun to watch. It's not very fast, and you go around corners and everything's shaking and bouncing and vibrating and just going bonkers. But let's see if we can go up this wall. This is pretty straight. Yeah, not quite. I think we need a little bit more downforce to get up that one. So let's see if there's. I'm trying to think if there's anything cool we can do. And of course, you can always just pick stuff up and throw it, but yeah, we'll just watch it explode. Always fun. Always fun. Alright, I got one more vehicle to show you, and it's not really, it doesn't really count as a vehicle of its own. And this is why. Because this is literally just both of my vehicles bolted together. Made some changes, of course, didn't have enough lift to pick it up. Might have to load into the Barren Expanse because this thing is not good at flying. So I may have to load into a map a little bit more room. This one is a little bit different. Basically, everything is the same as the airplane controls, but the tires, you go forward when you hold backwards, which sounds kind of silly, but on your airplane you need to pull back to get it to lift up. So whenever I pull back to get it to lift up, I'm also going forward with tires. So it's kind of weird, but you get used to it. Now the tires spinning in the air, I'm sure they cause all kinds of ballast issues and the physics and stuff. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. I'm obviously just dicking around. So let's get this open up in the Barren Expanse and see how we can do there. All right, here we are. So there's nothing else to do besides just go for it. Oh, this one you have to use some flying blocks to make it work. It's just too damn heavy to do otherwise. It's, yeah, not as nimble, but it can glide fairly well. It actually does fly fairly decent. It has the same control scheme as my other one. It's built a little bit different. This one does stall. This one does break. There's just all kinds of issues. But that's what happens whenever you just strap two vehicles together and go for it. Let's see here. Let me pin this up and just kind of show you the mechanisms on it. Alright, is that going to do it? No, that's not going to do it. Is that going to do it? That will. Okay, so left does crab steering on all four tires, lesser degree on the back axle than on the front. Right, obviously, everything we need at once. Yeah, you pull back, or hold down, and this tire starts spinning forward. You can't really tell just because of the animation in this game. And then, of course, pushing forward is gonna nosedive it, and then we have the same controllers. This one, I actually have these wings mounted on the rudder. I don't think I need to do that necessarily. It's just kind of it's how I can get the parts to go together, and then the roll mechanics for just those two. So let's drop her and grab the camera. So by going forward, we're just automatically pulling up. When we want to take off, we just press O to activate the fans. And we're in the air. And that's it. And let's see. Oh, I always forget about this. The shift-click explosion mod. It's like the coolest thing in the world that I completely forgot about having. You should just hold down shift and click and it just sets off a bomb. Let's scroll that down to a slower explosion. Try that again. Boom. God, it's just it's so enjoyable. It doesn't really matter how, I don't know, accurate it is. Just the fact that you can do things like that and just see what happens is always great. There's a few explosions for you there. So that'll wrap up this one. Thank you for joining. Thank you for checking out my Besiege creations. Like I said, I know I'm way late to the party. I don't know if anyone even gives a shit about this game anymore. I have a blast with it though. I've been looking for a good sandbox for a while. Scrap mechanic is cool, but it's just a little too, not really cartoony. I don't know, wasn't quite doing it for me. Saw this on YouTube, definitely doing it. So probably gonna make some more videos of these. Hopefully get some of my buddies in on it. But we'll see how it goes. Thanks for joining, and don't forget all the like and subscribe. And I hate the call to action bullshit, but if anyone, or if we're gonna get anywhere with this thing, we really need everyone's help as far as liking and subscribing and telling friends and that sort of stuff. So if you have any suggestions from me, anything you want to see, games you'd like to see, things inside of specific games, if something you want to see me build on here, whatever the case, just hit us up. We want to have fun, and we want to be fun to watch. So after all that rambling, bye.